There we are. We're live. I like to let the band stop playing. Welcome, everyone. So nice to see so many people here. Welcome. This is our 200 subscriber on YouTube special. So welcome and thank you all for being a part of this. This has been such a cool few months for me, being able to do this and knowing that there are like at least 200 of you out there who are into this kind of thing. So thank you so much for being a part of it. I am going, okay, so if any of you are subscribed to my linguistics newsletter, you will have had a little bit of a sneak preview about what we're going to do today. I call this, the theme of today is a lot of conlanging and a little bit of vowels. What we're going to do, we are of course going to continue our Conlang with me series. We're going to keep working on our proto-language. That'll come towards the end. But before that, we are going to basically ruin Toki Pona. And by ruin, I mean take this beautiful, beautiful minimalistic language and do a relexification of it. So we're going to take all of the all of the morphemes in Toki Pona and come up with new phonological shapes for them that look absolutely nothing like the originals and hopefully will give a very, very different vibe. And because it's such a minimalistic language, we can do it live on stream and be done with it. So that'll be fun. But even before that, I want to talk a little bit more about vowels, because last time we talked about vowels, we had the vowel apocalypse. There were some questions that I did not get to, and there were some things I wanted to explore a little bit more. So we're going to do that, and you're going to have hopefully a good time watching me gradually get better at using the software that the digital Blackboard software. So hopefully that provides some added entertainment value. Welcome everyone. This is great. Okay, so make Toki Pona into Turkish. Yes. Okay, so what I'll do is I will get feedback and opinions from you, the chat, and we can take it in a very, very different direction. I had this one idea of basically being inspired by old Chinese, but we'll see what the magic of the moment gives us. But before that, vowels. Lucy, if any of you don't know, my producer Lucy, she's always here helping out. So I'm about to start the first segment, and I'm going to get into my, get the glasses aligned. Welcome. If you are just joining us on YouTube, welcome. This is a channel all about language. So if you like language, if you love language even, please do subscribe, because we're always talking about things like linguistics, language learning, constructed languages, all manner of things, ancient languages as well. But today we are here to talk about vowels. And if you have not seen the original Vowel Apocalypse, the revealing the secrets that phoneticians don't want you to know about vowels, I would suggest watching that video now and coming back to this. However, if you're alive, you don't have that option. So just sit back, relax, and I will tell you the secrets that phoneticians do want you to know about vowels. So without further ado, I will switch over with elegance, with grace, to the Blackboard, which, I don't know, this might be an inside joke, but that might be a little too inside, but look, I know how to zoom now. No, wait. Okay, so, yeah, there we go. And I know how to pan. Ha 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 ha. Okay, so just sort of proud of myself there. What we are going to talk about today are some interesting things about vowels that we didn't get to talk about last time. So last time, if I can arrange my desk so that I can get to my tablet. Here we go. Last time we talked about the vowel space. We talked about the vowel space and we made it look like this. And I said something, if I recall correctly. Oh, look, that's all, you can see it. This is wonderful. I said something like, this axis here represents the height of the vowel, and this axis here represents the backness of the vowel. So we have front and back vowels. We have high and low vowels. And these dimensions correspond roughly to the position of the tongue in the mouth, specifically the position of the highest point in the tongue in the mouth. So when you're making a high front vowel like E, your tongue's up high and forward in the mouth. When you're making a low back vowel like ah, down there, it's exactly the opposite. Your tongue's down and back. And this is to a certain extent true, but we have to have a little bit of more precision because we can. Because it's not 100% totally true that backness and height refer exactly to the position of the tongue. What they actually refer to is something slightly different, but in order for me to explain what it is, I have to talk a little bit about acoustic phonetics. And as I am not a phonetician, inevitably there may be some lapse of the tongue, so if there are any phoneticians in the room, please, or in the chat, please jump in if I'm glossing over some important differences. But I basically want to give you the gist of what's going on here. So, and hey, you'll at least know what keywords to Google after this, right? So when we think about speech sounds, when we think about sounds in general, almost all sounds have sort of complex structures containing many different pitches, if it's not just a tuning fork. So when we talk about vowels, this sort of speech sound that we call a vowel, the pitch that the vowel is spoken at, which is made by the vibration of the vocal folds, we have that pitch, but we also have higher pitches, overtones, that come from the shape of the vocal tract, and the places, the precise peaks of the frequencies at which these overtones occur are called formants. And what's really cool about these vowel formants is that you can actually hear them under certain circumstances. You can hear them just on their own. And I got this example from Ladefoged's textbook, which is a great introduction to phonetics. Maybe we'll have to put the link in the description for that. I am going to write that down as well so I don't forget to do it. So if you whisper a vowel, what you're doing is you're not vibrating the vocal folds anymore. So if I say ah versus ah, I don't know how well that's going to come through. You can let me know. You don't get the fundamental pitch of the vowel. What you get is one of these overtones. So I'm going to say a few words in English, and notice how the pitch changes, even though I'm not vibrating my vocal folds at all. So the words are heed, hid, head, had, hod, hood, hood. So I'm going to go through them in that order. I'm going to whisper them and see if you can let me know if this effect comes through on the mic. I'm going to get really close. This is ASMR time. Heed, hid, head, had, hod, hood, hood. Now, I'll do it again, just so that we get the full effect of it. Heed, hid, head, had, hod, hood, hood. I don't know about you, but I heard it going down. What I was doing was moving through all these vowels from front to back. And as I move through the vowels from front to back, we hear this pitch going down, 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 down. So these overtones occur with peaks at different frequencies, which depend on the shape of the resonating chamber. What's the resonating chamber? The vocal tract. And when we manipulate the shape of the vocal tract by moving around our tongue and various other articulators, we change the shape, and the peaks, these frequency peaks, change. And so these are our formants. So why am I telling you about all of this? Simply because these formants are actually the key to understanding our vowel space. So I'm going to go back to the blackboard because I've just been moving windows around. Okay, so there are three formants that are most relevant for talking about vowels, and then really only two are needed for most of them. And formants, the way they're named is they go up. So as they go up in frequency, you get F1, F2, F3, and so on and so forth. So each vowel has its own characteristic values for the different formants. And it turns out this is the coolest thing of all, when you plot these formant values with F1, that's just under my camera, but hopefully you can still see it. F1 along the vertical axis and F2 minus F1 along the horizontal axis, you get the familiar vowel chart. So you get E up here, you get ah down here, you get oo somewhere up here, depending on exactly how you're saying this oo. Let's say this is kind of like General American. You have schwa nice in the middle. And so this seems to be what phoneticians, before the advent of being able to measure formants. This seems to be what phoneticians were describing as height and backness. So that's really cool. We still teach in intro classes this tongue height thing, but it's not totally correct, because actually when you think about high vowels like E, high front vowels, the tongue is actually much higher when you look, say you do an ultrasound imaging of the tongue is higher, much higher for E than it is for U. So as you go back, high is a lot less high. So that's kind of cool. So F1, F2, and F3 are the frequencies at which the overtones, the peak of the overtones occur. Now, here's where I'm a little bit out to sea, because I am by no means an acoustic phonetician or a phonetician of any variety. But that is my understanding. So if we want the hard math stuff, we might have to go ask one of them. And you may be curious to know why F2 minus F1 rather than just F2. And it turns out that F2 is affected by the rounding of the vowels. So we get something that looks more like this chart when we take the difference. So that's a little more information, a bit of an initiation into the world of phonetics. And I want to move on from that to talk a little bit more about different things that you can do with vowels. So, and I promised that I would talk to you guys about this earlier. Things like advanced tongue root. That's something we want to talk about in semivowels. So, basically, I want to mention, 4 things. Rotacization, nasalization, advanced tongue root, and semivowels or glides. So nasalization, let's start there. Nasal vowels, and to get a sense of what those sound like, that's something like on, I, as opposed to a, o, u, e. How are these made? They're made by lowering the velum. And if you're not familiar with the velum, you can actually find it on yourself. If you take your tongue and put it up to the roof of your mouth and find the roof of your mouth, it's hard, that's the hard palate. Keep going back until you find the soft palate, and that's the velum. You can also find the velum in that the uvula, the little dangly bit from cartoons, right? That hangs down from the velum. So what the function of the velum is to close the passageway between the nose and the throat, or to open it. And when we lower the velum, we open up this passageway that allows airflow to go out through the nose. So we get something like we have airflow coming out of the mouth and the nose here for a nasal vowel. Or for a purely oral vowel, raise the velum, ah, ah. You can tell that there's nothing going through the nose because ah, 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 ah. It sounds the same whether I plug my nose or not. Whereas a nasal vowel, you get the difference between ah, ah. So, it's going to make me want to sneeze. So that's essentially what's going on with nasalization. Now that we know a little bit about acoustic phonetics, we could ask, what are the correlates of nasalization on a vowel? And as far as I can tell, it's not a very simple question. The acoustic effects of nasalizations are different depending on which vowel is being nasalized. But one thing that I think is important to note, and if you are a Conlanger, this is doubly important to note, is that nasalization acts to reduce perceptual distinctions between vowels. So it makes essentially high vowels, so let's go back to our chart here. High vowels sound lower, and low vowels, so let's say we have something like here, sound higher. So it's essentially squishing the space, the perceptual space that these vowels can exist in. And as a result, it's harder to distinguish between nasal vowels. And as a result of that, you will, I think, never, you never like to say never, but as far as I know, never find a language with more distinctions in the nasal vowels than in the oral vowels. And you often find languages with fewer distinctions in the nasal vowels compared to the oral vowels. Think of French, where I think we only have 4 nasal vowels, but we have a lot more than 4 oral vowels. So that's cool as well. So that's nasalization. Let's move on to rotacization. So rotacization, fancy word for becoming more like an R. You can rotacize vowels. What does that sound like? It's something I have in my own native variety of English. So is a rotacized schwa. This rotacization, it's actually really interesting. The way to produce this rotacization, there are several. So it's really cool. I want to see if I can, let me see if I can draw a little sad picture of what's going on. Look at that. Do I have enough space? I don't have enough space anywhere. What's wrong with me? Let's zoom. Oh, the skills, the technical skills. Okay, so we have, what was I going to talk to you about? Yeah, rotacization. So we have got some lips here, some teeth, an alveolar ridge, hard palate, the velum, the uvula, and then we have some bottom teeth, and then roughly the tongue is going to be in here. So options for rotacizing a vowel. One option is to take the tongue and pull it backwards a little bit. And so this, to sort of have the tongue in this place behind the alveolar ridge. So versus So I don't know if you can see, I don't know if you want to see, but I have my tongue tip going a little bit back behind the alveolar ridge. There's another way to create this rotacization, which is that you can bunch the tongue. So the tongue body can get all bunched up like here. Let's make it even bigger. So if you speak a variety of English that has this rotacized vowel, this burger, that one, then you can find out which type of rotacizer you are. Are you the type of rotacizer that uses the tongue tip, or are you the type of roticizer that uses the tongue body, Notice that you probably, I don't know about you, I can't really hear the difference. And in fact, there doesn't seem to be any appreciable difference. It's just some people do it one way and some people do it the other way. And there are even in between realizations that can get you this rotacization, which is really, really cool. All of these have the same effect, which is to lower F3. So we're getting some great stuff in the chat here. Yeah, so there are peaks in the sound spectrum and counted from as you go up. So F1 is the lowest, F2, F3, F4, and so on and so forth. So F3, when you have a rotacized vowel, wherever F3 would be in the non-rotacized vowel, it gets pushed down. So it's at a lower frequency in a rotacized vowel. And that happens no matter how you produce the rotacized vowel. So that's kind of cool. So do we have any speakers of varieties of English or other languages that have rotacized vowels? If so, drop in the chat or in the comments if you're watching on YouTube. Are you a buncher or are you a retroflexor? Do you use the tongue tip to make your R, or do you bunch up the tongue body? Takes all kinds. I'm a buncher. I don't know how I became a buncher. I'm a buncher. Okay. Then the next thing, and this is going to require some setup, I think, because I'm going to have to open up a web page and share it with you because I am not capable of making this distinction. So we're going to be talking about advanced tongue root. And I've got spoiler, Toki Pona stuff coming up. So I'm going to get this up here, and I'm going to turn on the audio from the desktop. Hopefully this doesn't mess anything up. And let's see if you guys can hear this. Yeah, apparently it just wants to open. All right, well, fine. I don't know what any of this
Arik.
stuff. Did we hear that? Did we get an arik? All right, well, I'm going to wait for the time lag to catch up, and I'm going to explain a little bit about this ATR business. ATR, Advanced Tongue Root. So back to our blackboard, we have to draw a little bit more. So the tongue is this amazing muscle, and it attaches somewhere down here. And so it has different components. It has the tip, the blade, the body, and it has the tongue root down here. And super, you heard, excellent. And in some languages, we have a contrast that occurs based on what the tongue root is doing. So in these languages, the tongue root can be advanced, so farther forward, pushed sort of towards the face, or pulled back. And essentially what that's doing is creating more or less space in the pharynx, which is this the area of the throat behind the mouth and nose technically. But in this case we're talking about the mouth portion of the pharynx. So this pharyngeal cavity gets larger or smaller depending on what the tongue root is doing. And in some languages also what the larynx is doing. So, I'm going to try, maybe I'll put myself on full screen here so you can see and move the mic out of the way. I'm going to try and do raising and lowering of the larynx. Can you see? My singing teacher would be so proud of me. So that's also lowering the larynx down here. You saw it go down there. Is going to create more space in the pharynx as well. And so let's listen to what this contrast sounds like, because it's a bit abstract, I think, otherwise. So I'm going to get this up here. This is a common phonetic feature in West African languages. So here we have... so first we're going to hear, hopefully, the advanced tongue root version, and then the non-advanced or retracted tongue root version. I don't know why it insists on doing this. I don't know what groove music is.
Aok. Aok. Aok.
And here's the non-advanced tongue root version.
Out. Out. Out.
And we can try and hear it with some other vowels to... I find this a very difficult distinction to latch onto, but here's an actual minimal pair. So
Apit. Apit. Apit.
versus
Apet. Apet. Apet.
So one thing that's interesting about this distinction is that it kind of sounds like the tense lax distinction we have in English between things like beat and bit. There have been some findings that the tongue root is involved in this distinction as well. So big controversy, people fight about it. I think the consensus these days is that these are separate things. But that's something that I will have to defer to the phoneticians on. How do I get back to my... Yeah, how do I get back to my blackboard? Here we are. Okay, and let's... I don't think I need the blackboard anymore, because I'm just going to talk about semivowels. So semivowels, this was a question we had last time, was semivowels are segments that are vowel-like, but they function as consonants within the syllable structure of a particular form. And they are true consonants in that they can be geminated, for example. So these are things like y, w, which are the consonantal versions of E and U. There are also semivowels corresponding to other vowels, not just E and U, although those are by far the most common. We also have semivowels corresponding to the rounded version of E, which is U. So we have, this is a hard one, something like yeah, yeah. So it's like yeah, just the first part, by the way. I need to put a vowel on there so you can hear it. So imagine I'm saying yeah, but then rounding the mouth for the y. So yeah. And then we also have the unrounded version of oo. So oo. So instead of wa or we, you have le, le. And okay, yeah, I will bring back the blackboard because I want to show you the IPA for these things. So the IPA symbol for, let me see if I can make this a little bit bigger. The IPA symbol for y is, nope, that's a spray paint. What the? I just want a pen. Okay, that's fine too. So we have y for the consonantal version of E. We have w for the consonantal version of U. We have this guy. Oh, no, let's write it straight. This guy for the rounded y, y. And this guy for the unrounded w. So other vowels too can function as consonants. So function as can be semivowels, but they're so rare that they don't have their own IPA symbols. So you would just say something like, have this little diacritic to say, I'm not syllabic. Okay, so I think more or less that is all I wanted to talk to you about vowels today, because we have a lot of conlang to do. So I will return to the full screen and thank you all for joining us for this segment. If you have watched all the way through on YouTube, you must like vowels a lot. And if so, please do consider subscribing because you will encounter so many more vowels and consonants as well. So, all right. I think that's that. That was a decent knuckle crack. Let's talk about Toki Pona. I'm just going to change my windows around. Okay, so this is the promised 200 subscriber special. We are going to look at Toki Pona. I'm going to give a little very brief introduction to Toki Pona when I start the segment proper. And then we're going to do a Relex or a Relexification. So we're going to just replace the phonology essentially and replace all the lexical entries, all the words with new ones. We need we need to Toki about Pona. We need to Toki. So, okay, I'm getting in place. I'm going to do the thing. I'm going to do the segment start. This is method acting. This is how it goes. Welcome, 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 welcome. This is going to be a video all about ruining Toki Pona and ruining as an act of love. If you have not seen this channel before, if I'm a completely new face to you, it is very nice to meet you. My name is Colin Gore. This is a channel all about language, linguistics, constructed languages, language learning, learning ancient languages, all this sort of thing. So if you like that, stick around, consider subscribing, and ring any bells that are presented to you. But without further ado, let's start conlanging. So into the side webcam we go. And I still have a little bit of that blackboard up here, but that's okay. People can wonder what that's all about. So Toki Pona is really interesting, and I won't claim to be, I'm not in any way a proficient user of Toki Pona. I merely appreciate it, and I love the fact that it exists. It has a pretty decent sized community online. So chances are someone involved, either watching this now or watching this later, is going to be part of that. So welcome. When I say ruining Toki Pona, it is only to show how much worse my derivative version will be than the original. So the plan here is to look at Toki Pona, which is, let's do a little introduction of it. It's a very minimalistic constructed language. It tries to get away with a very, very limited selection of roots, and by and large, it achieves its goal. There are, I think, somewhere between 120 and 137, depending on which iteration or version you're using, that are of roots that are in use, and more other meanings that aren't covered by these roots directly are formed by compounds. And so you can have things like crazy waterhouse, tomo te lo nasa, meaning strange bathroom. So there's a lot that comes out of this compounding, and because any language that has only 120 roots still needs to express a lot about the world, there's a lot left up to the participants in the communication. And so we can see things like Yan Lili, meaning literally small human, or human small, I think would be the word order. But it's used as a word for child. So it's both small human and child, depending on the context. And so a lot about Toki Pona depends on the context. So let's take a look at some of the words we have. By the way, I will put this as another thing I have to put in the description and make a note. Pona cheat sheet. So someone has made a really, really nice summary of the grammar and vocabulary of Toki Pona that fits on 2 sides of 1 page. So lovely. We will link to that. But basically, we have the entire vocabulary, the entire lexicon here. It's not much. But as you can see, there's a lot going into each one of these roots. So here we have an example, lukin, which means to look at, see, examine, observe, read, watch, seek, look for, try to, and I'm sure a whole bunch more things. So our goal today is going to be to take these lovely, lovely lexical entries and replace them with things that look very, very different. And I want to make a phonology that would, I want to make a phonology with some good, maybe some velar fricatives. I want schwa in there. I want it to be un-Toki Pona. Yes, some clusters, because we have this very more or less CV structure with, I think nasals are allowed in the codas. Yeah, pilin, pan, but that's it. And we're going to take this and we're going to make it crunchy and un-Toki Pona. So let's get started. We'll start with the phonology. So let's get some of these ideas onto paper. If only it will stop doing that. So we start out with, let's talk vowels. I think we're going to I want schwa in here. And the question is, how far can we go with this? So we can do the usual 5 vowel system, which I think there's a drinking game out there for whenever a 5 vowel system comes up on in a Conlang. If you're playing along, my condolences, because we are about to subvert your expectations. So we've got 5 vowels in schwa. We might return to this. Let's get a basic consonant inventory. I'm not gonna do a whole chart at the moment. Let's just get some P, T, K, M, N, S. Ch, maybe you go wa, and I don't know if anyone's heard my rant about how much I dislike the IPA symbol for the alveolar tap. Ra. I think we should have a voicing contrast for obstruents. I think I'm getting a bit predictable in my Conlang life, and just never doing voicing contrasts and obstruents. So let's get some of these in here. Let's get z and let's get r. Where is that on the IPA keyboard? That is on my second monitor. That's nice. That's nice. We need some adjectives. Yeah. Let's get... The question is, will I reliably be able to produce adjectives? I think so. We'll see. Where is the... Where is the spot where you can... Oh, okay. So which is the one with adjectives, now that we're going down this road, which is the adjective that is uncommon? This is how you can tell I'm not a phonetician. You often have... yes, you often have ka. Rate my adjectives. That sounds wrong when I say it, but nevertheless, here we are, and we need. I think we need some uvulars as well. I just think that's what we need right now, and uvular adjectives are also common. Labials, not so much. And we might have the alveolar or the coronal like this. That could work. Is this already too many for a Toki Pona sized language? Well, here's one thing that I think we might be able to take advantage of, which is if we have an inventory size like this, we do not need to have morphemes that have more than one syllable. So if you'll see back here, we have in Toki Pona, I mean, maybe they technically don't need this either, but they have it. They have all these polysyllabic morphemes like mama, kalama, tempo, pimea, and we don't need it. We can simply just do monosyllabic morphemes. And so I think that could be cool and give us a different vibe. So, oops, that's for later. So consonants. And okay, if we say we have this for now, let's come up with a syllable structure. We can always come back and change this. We have a syllable structure that's something like something relatively scary. I don't know if this is reasonable. Maybe this. Or maybe only S can go here. This could be fun. So then we'd have things like we can also have glides here. So something like sptwach. I think this is the aesthetic we're aiming for. Sptwach. Or kyak. Or even it could be something as prosaic as One. Just to show that we can still do this. Yep, we're doing huge consonant clusters. Everyone get in, because it's happening. And the one thing that I had in mind is I would love for the more functional morphemes in Toki Pona. These are things like, let's go back over here. We have things like pi, which means of. We have, where is it? We have li, which occurs between any subject that's not the first or second person pronoun, and the verb. We have e, which occurs before the direct object. I would love if these were consonantal clitics. So instead of having a vowel and a separate word, why don't we do something like, let's find an example. Let's do, where is it? So the cat is eating. Let's use that as our example. Why can I never click on the right thing? Okay. So soeli limoku, cat, and then this li marker, which we can talk about how to analyze this. I think that could be a fun conversation. But the cat, li, eat. So if we have a word like meow for cat, that could work. Wait, what is the actual translation of soeli? Okay, it's just animal, so it's not cat. So then let's just call it animal. Then I don't feel as much as if we need to have meow be the word. Let's put sptwach. That's animal. So animal, sptwach, and then maybe gyok is this moku. And then what if li were s? So sptwach gyok. Oh, okay, or gz. That also works. Sptwach, sptwach gz. Sptwach gz. I think that's fine. Sptwach gz. Sptwach gz gyok. Obviously. So that's the vibe. That's what I think we want to do. So instead of messing around with all sorts of charts and things, I think we should just translate a text. I have prepared a text for us. It is the Tower of Babel text, which I found on Wikipedia, translated into Toki Pona. You can see the original. Where is it? Somewhere down towards the end of this. Apologies for the scrolling. Here it is. Matomo pape. So we are going to take this translation and we are going to whatever this language is called, we're going to ruin it. So let's go back. I have already got us halfway there by glossing. Now I have to do this little adventure where I figure out what font size will fit on the screen and be visible to all of you, including those of you who are looking at this on phones. Yes, okay, so that's a good point. We do need to have more consonants in the coda for our syllable structure. However, we could consider this to be a kind of morpheme structure constraint rather than a syllable structure constraint, and then we can just add. Yeah, okay, so let's do that. Basically, the difference between a morpheme structure constraint, let me just write it out and then I'll say it. I'll just go morpheme structure. So morpheme structure constraints are constraints on the representation of morphemes. Not all linguistic theories love these, but some do, and we can use them here without shedding a tear. So this is an idea that morphemes are maximally allowed to have a certain shape or size, and in this case, a morpheme is maximally allowed to be this. But then the syllable structure itself maybe could be maybe we allow this to be z in the case of voiced clusters, and then we can also allow this to be s or z, depending on the voicing of the coda cluster. Coda cluster terminological alert to the consonants that come in a syllable after the vowel. The Toki Pona speakers are going to cringe. I apologize. It is done, as I said, purely out of love and desire for fun. But yeah, let's keep going. So we have, I think I'm going to need 2 screens here. So I'm going to open up another one of these. We're going to put it over here. And we are going to make sure we can see it, which is by no means always the case on this channel. Thank you to my my helpers in the chat for telling me when things aren't visible, and I'm aware that that this isn't visible yet, so don't worry, it's going to get sorted out. And we're going to zoom down here so we can see the vowels and the consonants and all the constraints that we've added. It's all going to go here. Okay, so we can see at least what we've done off on the side, more or less. And let's continue. So let's go to the text. All right. So sentence 1. Yan ali li kepeken e toki sama. So this is, let's move this over here. We have an English version here, and the whole earth was of one language and one speech. So here we're translating it as people all used the same language, something like that. So given our phonology, I am very much open to people shouting in the chat. If you have a particular phonological shape you want to occur with for a particular morpheme, just dump it in the chat, or just even without a meaning, I'll just assign it to whatever, because we don't have a huge amount of time to do this. So let's all take part in this absolute travesty of a conlang that we're ruining, that we're creating here. Okay, so let's use some things. So we have sptwach. We use that for animal. I don't think we have any of those in here, so we might want to just replace it and have it be person. So maybe we can do that. Sptwach. And then ali. I don't think we have moku in here, so let's just get ourselves started. Sptwach kyakz. Oh no, we don't need that yet. Oh no, we do. Sorry, I forgot this li in the gloss. What's wrong with me? Then we need use. We need a use morpheme. So I'm going to go ahead, because I know there's a slight delay in the chat. If you have suggestions, I might not see them until I've made a guess, but I'm happy to go back and change things. Question, do we have morphemes with more than one syllable? We do not. So everything's got to be within our little morpheme structure constraint here, which means one syllable. So sptwach kyakz. Kyakz. This is going to be a workout for me. Use, maybe we can say one, just because we have. And then I think for this a, which I've glossed as accusative, I don't know if I really want to gloss it like that. Let's just gloss it as a. Why don't we have this be a clitic on a clitic that attaches to the preceding word, an enclitic, and we'll have once, and then we need toki sama. So zgliak, Violet, thank you. This we are going to use for Toki. Zgliak. And then sama, we can have something like das. So sptwach wants zgliak das. Right? That's how it goes. All right, then sptwach let's put this in bold so that we know it's our work. We need a comma. Oh. Stub. Although I do think that the labial ejectives are rarer. So I might... let's leave it. Rarer doesn't mean impossible. Put it in. So that's comma. Tan. We need right. We need rer. From nasin way. Maybe something like... Scha. No, scha. Schud. We need the schwa in here. Ger schud. Of. R. Yeah. Okay, let's do something simple. Let's have a nice open syllable just to prove that we can. Ger schud. R. This is a bit of a long sentence, so let's try and align things a bit. This is always probably everyone's least favorite activity, watching me align things. And then we have yub. Again, good. Of come sun li. So we need a word for a word for sun. Maybe this can be something like lean. And then we have gz. And then we have come again. So we have this word that is definitely going to kill me. Sunly, land. We need one for land. What if the word for land is just Okay. So then let's is land. We have a suggestion of sun being sun. So let's change that here. Sungs. And then let's use lean for something else. We have shinargs. And then we can use lean for weight. And then we need one for located at. Lean is allowed because what is a consonant? L is a consonant. So we just have actually a nice consonant cluster. So yeah, lean is allowed. I mean, if sptwach is allowed, I'm going to say lean is allowed. Okay, we need two more morphemes for this. Shinar. Nope. We need to align this. Then we have something. Swa. Does it work? Swa. It does work. Okay. I absolutely love this. Swa. Which means located at. And then we need a demonstrative. So maybe, I don't know. Maybe butte. So the whole sentence. Sptwags sptjub ger schud sptjub songs sptjub shinargs lean swa debut. Yeah, we could actually aggressively. So I just didn't do anything with this, but I think we could just have it be snar, and that would be fine. Snar. Okay, there we go. I'll just capitalize this so that we know it's a proper name. Okay, great. We've got half of the, well, not half, but we've got a substantial percentage of the vocabulary done. Okay, let's see. Let's try and get the rest of it done in about 20 minutes. We'll see if we can, because I have lots to do on our other project. So let's see. We have Yanli Toki e ni. So sptwach zgliak. Butte. And then we need something for this O particle. This in Toki Pona is a vocative or imperative particle. We could have something like, I don't know, woi, maybe. Woiger. Okama. Hey. Okay, we're going to put in hey instead of way. Although it looks like we're thinking along very similar lines there. Hey. And then let's use way for the first person pronoun. Then we have this many, this mute, which if you want to say we, I believe that's going to be mi mute. So in this language, it's going to be woigzar, maybe. So we need Heiger, woigzar, and then we have Hei again, and then Pali, which is going to be our word for do or make or build, I believe. So, oh, yes, let's have a vowel initial word. Hey, oh, and then we have ogs, and then we something about stone, Klim. Let's do it. Okay. And then we have hey, and then we need fire, a word for fire. Thank you, Jamie. Chnoim. Hey, chnoims. And then a third person pronoun. What's it going to be? Maybe it could just be to be nice. Sptwachs zgliak debut. Sklaks debut. Heiger. Woigzar hei ogs klim. Hei chnoims ook. Excellent. All right, we're going to get clock in here. So first of all, we need spwach, and then what was our many? It was gzar. Is that still in here? It is. Gzar, gz, zgliak, and then this demonstrative, which I believe we had already as the butte. See, this thing writes itself. And then we have o comma, which is going to be gerer. And then woigzar. Woigzar ge. What was it? Og. O's, and then we need something for house, stick, and big. I think we have lots of choices here, so let's make house clock. Let's make this morpheme, which I've lost, stick. Literally, this is going to be tower, house, stick, or house that's shaped like a long, thin, like a branch or a stick. Clock and tef. And I feel like we've been neglecting our our adjectives. So let's get a uvular adjective in here for big, and let's use some real cool, maybe cool. Those are tough for me. All right. Great. So I'm going to keep going. I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say every line for my own, for the sake of my own self-preservation. Oh, we're changing mtef to mtef. Excellent. Okay. So clock mtef, tower. House, stick, literally. So now we need one. What else do we need here? We have above, and then air. Those are our two morphemes, sewi and kon, that we need to translate here. Otherwise, we have everything else we need. Where's our? We have an of, right? I seem to recall. Yeah, that was r. So we have something r. And then clock, tef, gz. And located was, I remember located was, swa. And then we need, okay. Glod, yes, thank you, this is perfect. Glod will be above. And then chloop could be air or heaven. So this is translating whose top may reach unto heaven. Glod, klak, tef, gz, swa, chloop. All right, moving down. We have, we need a word for name. Violet gave us one, leak. I'm just going to IPA that up here. Leak. And then this one just means first person pronoun. So where did that go? That was woi. Woigzar. Lik gewoigzar ge ger. We got a lot of these voiced velar fricatives. And then suli, which was gu. I'm so bad at this. I'm so bad at these adjectives. I need to study a language that has them. Woi, and then we need the word for want and not, but then after that we have and where is our demonstrative? That is butte. Okay, so we are we are... What are we doing? I just momentarily had a distractible moment, as does tend to happen. All right, well, we need a bit more in terms of phonological material. Let's use, for negation, let's use something, let's use something like b on the end. Oops. So... And we can do this because our morpheme structure constraint says we're never going to have more than one consonant at the end. So because our syllable structure allows 2 consonants at the end, and then an S or a Z, we can be we're guaranteed that bs will always be able to be added onto anything that is that is monomorphemic. So then what do we want? Maybe something like maybe something not so over the top. Want could be, what if it's just lu? Maybe we can be simple when we want to be. Or maybe, I don't know, maybe nu feels more like noobs butte. Well, it all depends on the magic of the internet. Maybe people will get really into these consonant clusters. Spend hours practicing in front of a mirror. Okay, let's forge ahead. Oizargs. Yeah, that's right. Located at. What did we have for that? That's my favorite word in this so far is swa. And then we need land, which is just And then we need other, and then we have gzar again. Okay. So a word for other might be zden. Seems vaguely Slavic. Is denzar. Okay. Did I make a mistake? Isn't okay. Yep, you're right. Thanks. I've been using gher all over the place for come, and it should be this. Should be spdyb. And it's a shame because it's used all over the place. All right, I think I got all of them. Super. So, what is next? Okay, so this is this translation for the Lord. It is Yansewe Yahweh. I don't know what we're going to do with this exactly. We have all the morphemes, right? We have sptwach. We have above. We have glod. And I don't know. I mean, we could translate it. We could because the problem is this isn't really. Well, it depends, I guess, on where they're coming from. Why don't we just have it be said like, "Oh, Violet, thank you." So, yeah, we could just have the Lord be person above, because that's enough, right? The person above. So I'm not going to translate it because it just causes me too much grief. So we're going to just go sptwach glodgs, and then our fun. Oops. Spdyb. Down. Do we have? I don't think we have down yet. So we could do something like, I don't know, dep. Come down. Splach glods stieb depgs. And then we need a word C, which I don't think we yet have. So let's use hia for down. Kind of reminds me of Mandarin a little bit. I don't know if that's the intention, if that's an inside joke or something. I don't know. We'll see. So hia gz, and then maybe dep could be C. Deps is land, and then house is clocks. Oops. Wait. C's the land, house. I believe that means city. And then the house stick, which means tower. Okay. Yeah. Must remember to keep hydrated, especially with all these new sounds. Okay, we need a little bit more space, I think, here. Sorry, I just have to break this up. Okay, I think we have everything we need here. So we have stwach, glodz. Speak is zgliak. The demonstrative is debut, I think. Yes. All right, then splach, and then we need located at, which was swa. Just listen to that. Swa, swa, swa. Oh, so good. And then we have the shortest word ever for land. Located at land one. So one land. We need a word for one. And then we have gz here. We need a word for use, which we already have, I think. We already have this, don't we? Yes. One. Once. Zgliak. And then we had our word for same up here, which is bdas. And then we need gz, das gz. We need do, house stick. Well, I forget what do is, but house stick is clock tef. Let's make that bold. So we need a word for one, and I need to find out what the word for do is, which is och. Okay. And we have some, what else? Oh yeah, we need this word for one. Let's just make this something simple. Something simple, just like red. Just simple. Red. And okay. Now we need one for this time word. We have debut. We need this adverbial marker, la. We have our third person pronoun already. I don't remember what it is. Check that out. Gz, can. Then we need ogs. And then we need thing, bad, and we already have. Oh, I need that. Zar. So we actually need quite a bit of stuff here. Let me get the third person pronoun from somewhere up here, which is ook. This is like a memory challenge as well in a way. Ook, ooks. And yek. Thank you. Let's make yek time. Just IPA that. And then I want an enclitic for this adverbial marker. So let's make it something like yek buten ooks. And then we need a can, thing, and bad. Zizios. This is going to be tough. Zizios. That might not actually be possible in a natural language. I don't know. I love it though. Oops, what happened here? Technical. Zizios. Can. And let's get something for thing. Maybe it's, what haven't we used? Maybe something like lub. Bad could be rneb, rned, rneg, rnek. Yeah, why not? Okay, yek butm ogs zizios ogs lbrnek gzar. And then we need to keep going. Mi wile, woi, wile. What did I have for wile? We had this, right? We had it. Where did it go? Ah, nu. It was just nu. Woi, nu, go to. We need a go to verb. Let's do something like, I need to adjust my posture. My stack of pillows for this chair has become unbalanced. All right. Woi nu, go to. Let's make this ziu. Ziu, hia, gz. Nu, breaks, zgliak. And what was of? If only I could remember these things. What was of? Oh yeah, it was a r. Spoir. Zar. Debut. So anyone in the chat got anything for me for break? Pakala in Toki Pona. I'm going to keep going because, oh heavens. There's a bit more. There's a bit more. There's a bit more to do, and I don't think we have time to do it because I really want to make sure we get our third segment in. What I'm going to do, let's stop it after this sentence. So let's finish this one line and then we'll stop. And I'll have to take this up next time to finish it. It's just so that we get everything in today because not enough hours in the day, I tell you that right now. So while one of you is working on an equivalent of pakala, to break, or it has other meanings too, um, I will keep translating this sentence, and then we will say this for part 2, which will likely probably happen next week. And yeah, I think next week. I do have a calendar for all this. It's actually a marvel of organization. Voinus debut. And then our word for person, which was dwach. You'd think I could remember that. No. And then we have bz, the negative, and then this a particle. And then we have zgliak. No, that's wrong. R. Splach. And then do we have a word for other? I forget. Zden. All right, that's fine. Go away. Apologies for all the scrolling about. I know it must be a bit. Zden. That's right. Okay. Okay. Oh, these are wonderful. I must use both / all three. So let's put no as ok. And then we will say that our next 2 words are going to be ye and woo. And we're going to probably have oo and woo and e and ye, because I think we're coming into the home stretch and we have to make everything as difficult as possible. So that's what we'll do next time. I'm going to swap over to full screen and congratulate those of you who have remained throughout this process of ruination. It has been very, very fun to have you here. If you've been watching live, thank you so much for your contributions. You've helped build this tower that we've been working on. And if you've been watching on YouTube, thank you as well. And gee, you must really love these kind of cockamamie schemes. So I encourage you to subscribe to see more, because more will come. All right, I think that's that. So on to segment 3. My goodness, I had no idea that was going to be such a fruitful endeavor. But now we're going to get back to our proto-language. I say proto-language cleanup. Maybe we could think of it as refactoring. That sounds nicer, because everyone loves that. And what we're going to do is we're going to go back to our the list of changes that I was working on last week with you, and we're going to just continue and start to uncover cool etymologies and make for some fun grammatical changes. And hopefully this acts as a sort of example that might inspire you in some of your own conlang endeavors, or perhaps a cautionary tale. Who knows? All right, I'm going to do the little intro bit now. Welcome to another episode of Conlang with me. If you have not been following on thus far, check out the playlist, because we built this Conlang over time into what it is today, which is, a kind of family of related languages that we're now working on the proto-language of. By the way, my name is Colin Gore. If you don't know the channel, welcome. This is a language enthusiasts channel, so everything to do with language learning, constructed languages, linguistics, it's all here. So please do subscribe if that's your kind of thing. Okay, that's all the housekeeping. So I am going to scoot back to our side view where I have complete command over my computer. We don't need that other stuff. Although if you are watching on YouTube and you're curious as to what that was, check out the video that we're going to put in the description. Anyway, so back to our planning. So we wanted to, we have to zoom in here. This is ridiculous. Okay, so we need to get rid of all of the long words in protocol by making the eustamia words compound. So the eustamia, if you are, if you need your memory jogged, Eustamia is the descendant language. Protocol is the proto-language. And there are also some other siblings of Eustamia that we've worked a little bit on and we will get back to in due time. So we want to get rid of all the long words because it's just too much in the proto-language. When we ended up putting all of our sound changes backwards, we ended up with these gigantic words and it just didn't work, at least for me. So we're going to keep doing that. All those words that ended up giving us these huge proto words. I'll show you an example. So Eustamia, the name of the language, is a good example. So it means the fragrant coast, but when we turn back time, we get this form Yosetamia, and it's just a very long word, and it's clearly morphologically complex because we also have this form Yustaku, or Yustagu, which means fragrant, which comes from a Yosetako. So clearly there's something going on with this Yoseta that means fragrance, and we'd like to figure out what that is. So that's something that we're going to be doing. Another thing, there's a lot of stuff on here, but another thing that I think might help us is something I added in the interim between last time and this time, which is I don't think we have just a plain velar fricative in the protocol system. We have a rounded velar fricative, like a labialized velar fricative, hua, but we don't have ha, which seems a bit weird. And maybe this ha can be something that solves other problems. For instance, if we say that the proto-language had this, I'm going to need my IPA keyboard. Where does it live? I don't know. Sorry about that little flash there. If we have if we have this sort of setup in the proto-language, currently I believe we have this, so no ch. But what we can do is we get the uvulars from the labialized ones, the labialized velars here, and we get plain velars from the, this doesn't exist. So this is the current situation. Proto-language above, Eustamia below. Sorry, it's kind of small on the screen there. I don't know, does it go any higher? No. Fair enough. So I was thinking maybe we could have this in the proto-language as well, and then have it drop out through ha. So at one stage it would be this, and at the other next stage it would be just nothing. So that's what I'm thinking, and maybe that can help us with some of these long vowels that we actually were trying to eliminate from the proto-language. So maybe they can come from this dropped ch. So I think maybe that could help. So that's my thought. So I think let's just jump in and start doing a bit more cleaning. I've put everything in yellow that I'm not super satisfied with. A lot of those are these long words, but then there are things like this definite marker that I put into the proto-language just so that it was different from the descendant languages. I don't love it, and I think I'm just going to get rid of it. So let's say goodbye to the definite marker, and let's go clean up these texts because we don't need it. We might do something with definiteness later, but not right now. So I'll do a few of these and then you can use your imagination, and I'll do the rest off screen between sessions. So this kind of thing. So that will be continued as we go. My tower of pillows has been struck down here. I'm going to briefly adjust it so that my back doesn't complain at me later. 1 second. Sorry about that. After age 30, sitting becomes an extreme sport. Okay, so let's get back to work, shall we? So that's one thing I wanted to do, get rid of that definite article. Great. Let's get back to our comparative lexicon. We have this yavalu form in Eustamia, and I really want all of these kind of these conjunction-like things to be suffixes in the proto-language, because I want it to be a super SOV language, kind of like Korean or Japanese style SOV. And so I'd love these things to be suffixes. That said, this seems like a bit long for a suffix, so I thought, what if we just made follow the suffix, and ya is some sort of some root that it gets attached to that becomes lexicalized as although. I'm not totally sure how, but that's something I'd like to think about. So ya should mean something. We've already done this with aviduch, which means because in Eustamia. We've taken it from suffix tohwe, which gets added to afi, meaning thus, to be thus. So literally it means because it is thus, which is quite easy to make into because. So maybe there's something like that here, where ya is a different verb. Not totally sure. We already have afi being to be thus. Maybe it's just a synonym, or maybe it's something like that. So that's something to think about. If you have any ideas, either chat or comments, please do let me know, because I'm kind of scratching my head on that one. But let's get back to the next thing, which is we have to deal with this yosetamia. So clearly we have some material here that's like yoseta, which means fragrance. I think that's fair enough to say. And then yosetamia might be something like yoseta chamia. And so this is where we can get that velar fricative, that plain velar fricative that just drops out. And because it drops out in between two as, we get the hiatus being resolved and then turning into a long a. Yes, we could do yosetacha as well. My hesitation with that is I have been working with an assumption that this language, the proto-language, has a morpheme structure constraint as well, which is 3 syllables, which has been kind of the animating force behind getting rid of all of these. So if we put that cha into the next word, then we're golden with both, yoseta chamia. And then similarly, we might have something like yoseta chako. And chako might be smell or something like that. Or maybe it's a verbal root, giving off, emitting. So I think this is what we should have, which would give us something like clean up, chamia, which means, what did that mean? Coast. And chako, we could say to give off, emit. And then that works. That solves our problem. So then, good. And because we have cognates for these in the other languages, maybe this happened early on, or maybe we can change our mind about any of these things later. We got to build up on something though, right? Okay, so let's see. Still thinking about this yafalu. Yavalu, coming from the proto-language yafalu. I don't know what to, or yafalo rather. I don't know what to do there. So let's go down here. Okay, yeah, we have nakwalapu. And maybe this is another instance of nakwala chapu or nakwala chapu. I left this last week, or maybe it was the week before, I don't remember. We derived all of these long vowels through coalescence of vowel sequences. And there was some confusion about how exactly we did this. You know, musata, aqua, giving us mistak. Literally friendly, some sort of friendly nominalization, friendliness, or group of friends, which gets semantically changed over the years to become friend. But maybe we don't need these. Maybe we don't need these to be vowel initial. We could just have chukwa, and then that would be nice. And then we don't have these weird hiatus things going on. I don't know. That I might change. Yeah, I agree, Violet. Dive does sound like it's a bimorphemic word. Nakwala chapu. So yeah, something like, or maybe like swim, go down swimming, or something like that. We have nala here, which is down. Maybe it's like descend plus swim. Do we have swim? No. Okay. So this works. And then we have a suspicion that maybe these two words are related at an earlier stage of the language. Nakwala and nala. We do have infixation in this language, although there is some as we talked about, I think, I don't know, was it last week? My memory, what's happening? We talked about how infixation may have arisen, and I think that's a thread we want to pull at a later date. But now that it's in, we can start using it for things. So maybe this qua is something productive, or is a derivational suffix, or it's some, who knows? It's something. Maybe. That's something that we could entertain later. So, but for now, let's give entries for the two words. So we have nakwala and chapu, swim and descend. Let's get rid of this highlighting. And then for each of these words that we explode out into two, we are left with a choice. Maybe these individual things don't survive, or maybe one of them has changed meaning, or one of them has changed meaning and one of them didn't survive, or, you know, we have all these options which can make things really cool. So do we have up? That's a good question. I don't think we do. No, we do not. So if you have any suggestions, I am all ears, because we're still building this thing. Yosita Hamia. Okay, we already did that. Good. So that is good so far. There's another thing, which is we have a few nominalizations in here. We have this fa nominalization, which gives us masafa, sun, from this root meaning bright or white, masa. I've hypothesized that this is an unproductive agentive suffix, like the one who is bright. But maybe it's not. We could have this little morphology that gives us, that's derivational in nature, that gives us families of words that are related with a single root. These kind of, like, I think in Indo-European land, they're called stem extensions. Someone could correct me about that if we have any IE people in the chat. And they're kind of curious, and I'm not totally sure what to make of them. But they are phonological material, extra sounds that allow us to relate things that look like they are related, but it's not clear exactly what this fa, and what this l are doing. I've said nominalization and adjective could be different. So that's something that we can talk about. But before we do, let's just keep going down. Okapina. This is another one, too long. I think this should be 2 morphemes. Um, so I think maybe what we should do is have I don't know, some sort of a oka, meaning some kind of demonstrative maybe, and then pina being a postposition on account of or because of. So some demonstrative plus because of postposition. So let's, I know we already have a demonstrative, but hey, we can have more than one, and we can come up with what the exact meanings of each of them are. Are they proximal or distal? Or are they one's from an earlier stage, one's from a later stage? I don't know. So let's put this. Great. Okay, so this helps us here. Give us a little more room. And then let's get rid of our coloring. Violet just brought up something interesting, whether down and up should be related, like nala and kula. Yeah, I actually kind of think that's cool. Let's put that in. So the root nala in the proto language gives us nal in Eustamia. So if we do something like kula in the proto language, so saying up maybe, then we will get, I believe this will be kil. Or we could alternatively have quola in the proto language, because we have a vowel shift in between the protocol and Eustamia. So then we would have qul. Yeah, I like it. And then what we could do, because I really like this idea that maybe naquila has some relationship to nala. So I almost want to say that we have ascend and it's quoquila. So I'm not ready to call this as some sort of specific morphology, much less productive morphology, but we're planting some seeds. This is kind of cool. Yeah, thank you, Violet. This is really cool. It's better when it doesn't just come from up here. And then we discover all these new and I don't know, these really cool things. So let's see if we can apply the same principle to onasapa. So we have onasapa. And Violet is asking, yes, can we make flying and swimming related? So if we want to keep the Eustamia forms that we have, which we don't have to. This is something that I like to do to kind of give myself some kind of constraint so that the blank page syndrome is a very, very short period at the very start of the conlang. And then after that, I'm hemmed in by the decisions made earlier. And that, to me, gives some resistance and it ignites some of the creativity. Now, it can also be too constraining and then we'll, of course, change things. But I always like to give it a shot with the existing material first, because often cool things come out of it, as you've seen. So, can we make flying and swimming related? We should. Onaquala. Okay. Well, what we can do. We need something for like sky. Maybe I've gone silent here because I'm starting to think. We've got so much good material. I'm just gonna start copying stuff. Onaquela. So this is maybe ona is used for motion neither up nor down, just sort of across. So this would be something like go, and or across. Yeah, let's say across, and then onaquila is to go across. Except we need to change this vowel because I know it's hard to write schwas in the chat. It's hard to write schwas here, frankly. Onaquila. So now we have the same kind of qua. I think we need, what else do we need? We need it would be something like onala. Onala and onaquila. That's what it would be. So go across. So onaquila is go across. And then onasapa is fly across. So it's got this ona from onaquila. And I don't know where this sapa is coming from. We're getting close. Ona sapa. Maybe it's just something like fly. Like bee flying. And okay, so then I need to catch up on what everyone's been saying. So creative. Okay, so we've got some Quonas Hepu. Okay, I'm just gonna put all of these things in, and we're gonna sort it out. I may have to sort it out. You know what? I'm not gonna make changes to this, substantive changes, except when you are here. So I'm not gonna do anything really off screen except for clean things up. But I want to get all of this down because I see we only have a few more minutes left. And Quonas Hepu Ata. And change swim to... Okay, so I'm going to put all these notes down. And I'm going to briefly IPA this stuff. So I think this... Correct me if I'm wrong. I think that we're dealing with... This is a long vowel, which we're going to get from this achata. And so that could be sky. And then that in Eustamia would be at, which is kind of cool. Quonas. So because we are such a strict CV syllable structure, we're going to have to give this a schwa on the end or something. Quonasa. Quonas. Oops, I thought that was going to be a schwa. Quonasa hepu. So these have some possibilities. And the other option is, we can have more than one word that's used for flying. And then maybe different descendant languages get different ones. So I'm not totally sure. So I'm happy with these in that I don't have any lingering questions about what they mean. And how they're constructed. Onasapa, I'm not totally sure yet. And I'm going to put these in yellow so that we come back to them first time next session. And I'm going to make sure I remember to... Yeah, so are these... Yeah, we're going to deal with these. I promise. But I will need to do some thinking. I'm going to look up some stuff about motion verbs and grammaticalization to see if there's anything interesting we can pull in from the literature. So that's something I'm going to have to remember to do. Look up motion grammar. Yeah. Okay. I actually just trailed off speaking as I trailed off writing. This is the life that we lead. Okay. So we have this wonderful word suftalia from our very first session, which is a kind of stew, and I think that this is a good thing that we can break up. So I don't know, sofa taluya, maybe. So maybe sofa. Good. So sofa is good. Sofa taluya is something good, a good type of stew. We have this alternation between a and and we have it elsewhere too. So that's assuming that these things are related. They have the same underlying morphemes, sofa and sofa. We do have these alternations because we have this nominalizing suffix. I'll show you where we have osasa, and I think we're going to make this hkwa. Osasa hkwa. So we have this hkwa suffix, and then we also have this hkwa suffix. So maybe there are two variants. There are two forms of this language. One changes final a to and our descendant languages are a mixture of these two branches, of these two varieties. Maybe that's it. I don't know. Or maybe there is some earlier form of the language that had some interesting stress alternations or like a pitch accent or something, and then we get schwa in the case of one accentuation pattern and a in the case of another. I don't know. Maybe. It might be. So that's a potential option. So it's good plus taluya. What that means, I do not know. And we're going to mark this down because we're going to have to deal with this alternation. I've marked down so here because I don't like having these entirely unrelated third person pronouns. We have so and t. I'm going to change that. I don't know how. I'd rather at least have them be formed on the same root if this is going to be this kind of SOV language that it is, or at least have a reasonable story to say rather than just pulling forms out of midair. But that could be something that we do later because we only have 3 minutes left, and I am going to... Okay, here's what I'll do. If you are watching this video now or in the future on YouTube, and you see something yellow here that I've marked, and you have an idea, just let me know. Put it in the comments. And if you're watching live, go to the YouTube video later and put it in the comments. And I will incorporate it next time. This is looking like a long-term project. And from the response that it's had on YouTube so far, this is the most successful series in terms of, what people seem to be clicking on. So I'm just going to keep doing more of it. And so let that be a lesson to all of you. If you want me to do more of something, keep clicking on it and liking and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I'm going to leave this here for now. I'm going to go back to the main camera. Thank you all so much for joining me. And if you're on YouTube, you're joining me here. This has been such a pleasure to be able to spend this time with you, and that you've stayed and you've sat through this entire guy fumbling with Excel session, which I think says a lot about your moral character. So kudos to you. And if you do truly love watching Guy fumble with Excel and talking about linguistics, then please do subscribe because that's basically the theme of this channel. Thank you. And now we will end the live stream. Thank you all so much for participating 200 subscribers on YouTube. I cannot believe it. I'm bouncing with glee and excitement. This has been such a great signal that this is something that I should keep doing more of. And the more people seem to enjoy it, the more energy I get from it, and the more time I end up trying to carve a way out of other things to spend on making this stuff and preparing the videos. So thank you all so much. You are such a huge part of what makes this fun and successful. So, you know, thank you again. And yeah, I will see you next week. We're going to be doing more of some of the same. Probably we'll be doing a little bit of Ruining Toki Pona Part 2. We're going to be doing, of course, more of this. And I might have something else in store for you, which is a secret, a surprise. So thank you again. I've said thank you a lot, but thank you again. Truly, this is magnificent. And I will see you all again soon. Bye-bye. Where's